Hello, hello, welcome back to the mat and welcome to your Warrior One tutorial. Before we dive right into all things Warrior One, please come join us in the online tribe. You can click the link in the description below. It's a great place to come share your practice, to gain some inspiration, and to make any requests for stuff you'd like to see here. Please make sure you also like this video and subscribe to the channel for more free yoga. All right, that's about it. You don't need any props, just your mat. So go ahead, unroll that mat, and let's get started. So we're going to begin standing at the top of the mat. Go ahead and bring your feet about hip width distance, maybe slightly wider. And take a moment to feel the corners of your feet pressing firmly into the earth. So taking just a couple of breaths here to feel really grounded and really steady on the legs. You want to bring this same sense of grounded steadiness with you into your Warrior One, Virabhadra One. So take note of the space between your feet here. So you've got some space in between since you are at about hip width distance. You want to keep that space in between your feet as you start to bring one foot back. So we're going to start with the right foot forward, bringing the left foot back. So keeping the space between your feet. So if you look down, you should see parallel feet, kind of like you're on railroad tracks. So one foot next to the other. Keeping this space, begin to slide the left foot back, way back. And don't worry about bending the right knee just yet. We're going to work on the placement of the feet. So you want the left toes pointing sort of towards the upper left corner of your mat. So the toes are pointing nearly forward, not quite. So the outside edge of the back foot is not parallel to the short edge of your mat. You do not want a 90-degree angle in the back foot. You want sort of a 45-degree angle pointing towards that upper corner. And the reason we want to do this is because we want the hips to be facing straight forward. So if you come back into your standing position, feet hip width distance, you can see that your hips are pointing straight forward. So if you feel for like the bony protrusions here of your hips, what I like to call the headlights are pointing straight forward, and you want them to keep pointing straight forward as you move the left foot back, bring the left heel down. Hips are still pointing straight forward. Yeah? Cool. You want to press actively into the outer edge of the back foot through the left heel. So really active back leg, and then begin to bend into the right knee. The right toes are pointing straight forward, and you want to bring the right knee just above the right ankle. If you notice that the right knee is going past the ankle, then your stance is too short and you need to bring the right foot forward or the left foot back to bring a little more distance between the feet so that the knee comes just above the ankle. It's okay if the knee is a little bit behind the ankle, just not past the ankle. Move our way up the body here. So what tends to happen a lot, you get kind of like the belly sagging forward and like the chest really open, and there's just really big arch in the back. We want to take some of that out so that we protect the low back. So this puts a lot of strain on the lower back. So we want to pull the pubic bone up towards the navel. So imagine bringing those hip points, those headlights, up towards the ribs. You'll feel a bit of a stretch in the left hip flexor, and that's, all good stuff. So the belly is going to be firming up and in. You want the shoulders to be right above the hips. Yeah. So really lifted, proud chest, and then the arms come up next to the ears. The arms can stay at shoulder width distance. If the shoulders feel open enough, you can bring the palms to touch, keeping the arms by the ears. If that feels uncomfortable, totally cool to stay at shoulder width distance. If this even feels uncomfortable, you can bring the arms straight out in front of you. That's a totally cool place to be. Maybe gradually moving the arms up until bringing them all the way up feels okay. Go ahead and release the arms down. Step left foot up to meet the right. Take a couple breaths right here. Feel yourself grounded on your 2 feet. And then we'll switch sides. So once again, we want to keep the space between the feet. Bring all the weight onto the left foot as you start to slide the right foot back. So keeping this railroad tracks configuration between the feet. Again, right toes are pointing towards upper right corner of the mat, so nearly pointing forward. You want those headlights to continue pointing straight forward. Pressing really actively into the outer edge of the right foot through the right heel, so really active right leg. Bend in the left knee, knee above the ankle. And bringing the pubic bone up towards the navel to firm up the belly, protecting the low back. Shoulders right above the hips, lifting the arms up. You want this lift in the arms to originate in the side body, so use the lats here as opposed to lifting the arms from the shoulders. You don't want the shoulders to scrunch up by the ears. You want to make space for the neck here, so you want the shoulders to melt down away from the ears. The arms are active here. And this is your warrior 1. Go ahead, release the arms, step the right foot up to meet the left. Take a couple of breaths here, feeling grounded on your 2 feet. So, Virabhadra 1. Virabhadra is warrior. And in the myths of the asanas, Virabhadra, after whom these postures are named, is an incarnation of Lord Shiva. And he is sent to right wrongs on behalf of Shiva. And in one of the myths, Virabhadra appears in this room, in this space, by exploding through the ground, so from underneath the earth. And that is the image that Virabhadra 1, that warrior 1, depicts. So as we come back into it on both sides, keep that in mind and channel a little bit of that exploding through the earth to right the wrongs of the world. Alrighty, so keeping the feet about hip width distance, begin sliding the left foot back. Toes pointing towards the upper left corner of the mat. Active, firm left leg reaching through the left heel. A bend in the right knee, knee above the ankle. Pubic bone comes up towards the navel, firm up the belly, protecting the low back. Shoulders are right above the hips. Pull the shoulder blades back and down. And then lift arms up by the ears. So here it is. This is your warrior 1. You are exploding into this space through the ground. Now your drishti point, your gaze in this pose, is at the center of the eyebrow. So it's a slightly lifted gaze. Without lifting the chin, the head, chin and the head can stay straight forward. The gaze just lifts slightly towards center of the eyebrows. Beautiful. Go ahead, lower the arms and step the left foot up to meet the right. And we'll switch sides. Taking the right leg back. Finding the distance that works for your body in the legs. Pressing through right heel. Left knee above the ankle. Pubic bone up to navel. Shoulder blades back and down. Arms up nice and strong by the ears. Allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears. Lifted gaze to the center of the eyebrows. Feeling really grounded and firm and steady. Imagining that you could, I guess, explode through your ceiling here. Beautiful. Go ahead, release the arms down. Step a right foot up to meet the left. And take a couple of breaths here, standing on your 2 feet next to each other. So this is your Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. I hope these cues have been helpful for you. You can keep them in mind next time you encounter Warrior 1 in practice. There are a lot of little things to think about, so practice keeping those in mind as you come into the pose. It can be easy for the mind to wander and for kind of the pose to lose a bit of its integrity, especially if we get tired while holding a pose for a while. So that's part of the practice, remembering all these little bits while you're in the pose. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.